Okay, so today I would want us to look at practical questions. The questions in this case that come in leadership and management. Question number 1, having 40 marks. Those questions would want you to have as much as possible in terms of what we call real life scenarios. Real life scenarios. Why is this company collapsing? What happened there? We had management issues. We had, in this case here, for example, a situation where this examiner had given us a very successful company. But this successful company was basically a patriarchal kind of a management. I mean, it was the father who was calling all the shots. So as much in this case here, it was successful, right? There are very many successful businesses which are run by family, and not even family per se, but the father has a lot of say. All right. So the father is the chairman of the board. He's the one who is chairing everything. And at the same time, you realize that this guy is the CEO of the company, is the one who is in charge of the day-to-day running of the business. So should this mzee die, should this gentleman in this case here die, of course, without proper succession planning, then the farm in this case here disappears. Companies that are family run will have major weaknesses. Amongst these weaknesses here that I would want you to appreciate will be lack of proper controls. Quite risky. So if, for example, you're doing this the Indian way, where, for example, I'm a father, I have my son who is married here, I have another son, again, who is married, a daughter who is also married, and all of us are in this business. If, for example, one of these couples, one of these families here within the family decided to go and procure things for us, I mean, nobody will doubt them. And if you try to doubt them as one of the control figures here, then you will really get a lot of a hatred. All right. So control issues will be there. Lack of control. We shall be having issues to do with budgeting, budgets that are set up which can never be respected. So many issues. But today, I would want us to start by looking at some of the real life examples. And this is a book that has been of help to so many students. I would want you to have a look at it. I'll also be able to share it with you in our paid groups. So introduction, it is strategy, real life examples. Before we start looking at the theories of strategic planning, it might be worthwhile looking at some well-known companies and how they have fared in the past. Remember, IBM was a big organization. These guys were the guys who were making the mainframe computers, those computers that were as big as a cupboard. They were making big computers for organizations. Now, we had some of these small competitors who came and introduced desktop computers. They introduced, in this case, a smaller version of computers, including laptops. And the IBM wrote them off, said that, hey, these guys, what are they producing? I mean, nobody really would want to be moving around with computers. So they disregarded what the environment wanted. The environment wanted smaller computers that people can walk around with, because people really had subscribed to this concept of having offices that are portable, that you can go home with your machine and you continue doing what you're working from home. All right. You know, the mainframe which they used to produce was so big, you could not get them out of their room, out of an office. All right. So they kept on, in this case here, putting all their heads inside the sand, like that proverbial ostrich. All right. By the time they were waking up and smelling the coffee, already the cheese had moved. If you remember that story of who moved my cheese away. And once this cheese has been moved, once this business has been lost, you will never ever recover it. That's a big blunder that they made. So they had what we call a strategic drift. That the market, the environment wanted them to go this direction, but they insisted on remaining where they were. So they were left with the trends, So I'm so sure most of you, once you clear this CPA, depending on how aggressive you will be, you shall of course become CEOs and the CFOs, the C-suite employees. Please ensure that you move with the dictates of the market. Just like right now, I know very serious colleges which have got serious issues simply because they decided to stick with physical classroom trainings, and yet the market is saying, hey, let's in this case here go online. like Thursday last week, the MPs in Kenya, the Kenya Parliament, they passed, in this case here, a resolution for us to have the very first open university, all right, which will be very cheap. And trust you me, if it gets somebody very serious to steer it forward, this kind of a university can become a threat to the other universities because of the operational expenses are very little. They'll not be having much rent to pay. Like right now, if you look at, for example, like some of the papers that we have, like BDA today, I have over 400 students who are studying with me online from wherever they are, from Lodwar, from Juba, etc. I mean, there is no college, not even Strathmore, that happens to be having that kind of a number. So it's simply because us during COVID, we rose up and we smelled the coffee. We knew exactly what is to be done. There are colleges that were closed, which hitherto were very big. So their biggest mistake is that they were static. When the market was telling them bend, they decided not to bend. So they experienced what we call a strategic drift. So I would want us to read these examples, and they are so good, so nice. I always drive my daily inspirations by reading this kind of content. So like now IBM. In the 70s, IBM was a very powerful and profitable computer manufacturer. However, by the mid-80s now, it had registered one of the largest corporate losses ever made. In the space of about just 5 years, there was a complete turnaround to bad things, to bigger losses. How did this happen? With the benefit of hindsight, many commentators suggest that IBM hit hard times because it misread the impact of a change of technology, namely the impact of personal computers. For a company which had made a success of manufacturing and selling mainframe computers to large business and governments, personal computers might have seemed to be little more than playthings. A senior executive at the time was rumored to have commented that he couldn't see why anyone would want a computer in their home. IBM had also enjoyed very high rates of corporate growth for several decades. And once that happens to an organization, it might begin to believe that those rates of corporate growth are there for the asking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm advising you as a corporate leader. I'm advising you as a corporate consultant. You should never be too comfortable thinking that you are always the one on the rise. Even ourselves, as much as I say that we have so many BDA, so many AFM students, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I'm never in this case here seated pretty. I know that there could be a young man, there could be a young organization that can easily rise up and take the space. And that is why as RCM Online College, we are working so hard to get into what we call blue ocean. Blue ocean, once you reach that blue area, it's a place of zero competition, where basically you distinguish yourself from competitors now permanently. And how do you do it? Like ourselves, whenever we make our profits, we strive to come up with new products, innovation. So like right now, we are coming with a learning management system, which students, of course, right now, I know it has still issue, it hasn't really become reached to the level we wanted, but we would want a situation where students who join us, our online Zoom classes, they should be able to get a portal where they'll be able to get all the videos attached for the entire syllabus. They have notes there. They can be able to discuss, and this is very important, that you will not be discussing on WhatsApp. You will be able to discuss, in this case here, within that portal. We shall be able to have, in this case here, an AI, the ChatGPT button there, where you can simply go there as a student within the learning management system and you query, right? And then it gives you, in this case here, answers that are well aligned with the accounting profession. So those are the kind of things you're looking at. So in the next 3 years, I'm so sure you'll have really been able to distinguish this college here from the other colleges. And that is what really is all about what here, strategy. Now, please listen. IBM, they lost it. How did they lose it? They went and said that the senior management went and said that, hey, we don't see a reason why people would want to go with their personal computers home. Let's stick around with this mainframe. And they lost big business here. IBM, as we speak today, is just a useless company. It's just a useless company. Look at Nokia. I don't know whether you guys have ever heard of this Nokia story. Nokia is the one that used to be very good in terms of photography. If you remember when you were young, in the early 80s, 85, 90s there, we used to have about 3 or 4 people who used to move around villages, and they could come with some cameras. In this case, old technology cameras, they could take photos, and then they tell you that they are going to take it somewhere, Savoy or wherever, to do what they used to call wash. I'm going to wash, I don't know, negative or something like that. So 3 days, and then the guy comes back, in this case, maybe after a week like that. And then now we had Samsungs and wherever phones. They came up with this digital camera. And Nokia, if you remember Nokia, the management was able to come and talk to the press. They told the press in this case that, you know what, Nokia has come down. And it's not that there is any of these guys here that you are seeing around who is a thief. Nobody's a thief here. Our only undoing is that we never foresaw the impact of digital photography to our business. If we foresaw that, we would have also become a mobile phone manufacturer. And of course, because we had been in this photography business, we would have come up with a phone like Oppo, right? Which is known for its camera. So camera phone, because of course, they have a big experience. They should have woken up and melted the coffee. So in this case here, they experienced what we call a strategic drift. If I read this very fast, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have. Nokia, until about 08, Nokia was one of the most successful mobile phone manufacturers in the world. That's Kodak, sorry. I was talking about Kodak, sorry. Kodak is an organization with almost unrivaled photochemistry. It had a reputation for excellent color films. Obviously, digital photography has had a huge impact on the profitability of Kodak. The decline in Kodak's profit does not necessarily mean that Kodak did anything wrong. It might simply mean that it's unique, excellent technology has had its day. If you are very good at something, but then no one wants what you are good at anymore, then success will be damaged. Kodak is trying to change to other areas of the market, such as cameras. Now they can't. However, having had a uniquely strong position in color chemistry, it could be difficult to transfer the reputation and replicate your success even in related industries. For example, camera manufacturing, there are powerful, long-established companies such as Canon, Pentax, Nikon, Leica. Even though Kodak can make excellent digital cameras, it is hard to compete against those companies. Kodak might never make again the same high profits it once did. Ladies and gentlemen, this concept that I'm teaching you today here has got, associations even in our personal lives. You should never sit pretty wherever you are and say that I'm the best of the accountants. Right now, I'm getting 800,000 etc. No, if you're not upskilling, if you're not, in this case here, working to embrace technology as an accountant, trust you me, very soon you will be declared redundant. Now that takes me to something very important. As I finish this, I don't have to read all the companies because I'm going to share with you this book. So in this case, if I say control find, and then I say strategic drift, I should be able to get the strategic drift here. This is very important. Now, if you look at this, we have changed in the environment. And you can see this environment is always putting a lot of pressure on us to improve. And then now you have the company, your company here. So this company, the change wants you to go, so you are there stagnant. So you come and make a major move. You go up at once because you will go stagnate. Again, you stay like that. You come and make another one like that. But because the environment is changing so fast than you can cope up, so in this case here, you are now done. Now you are drifting. You can see in this case here, now you can't catch up. So it reaches a level, once you are here, you can either now transform materially to be able to catch up with change, which will need a huge investment, or basically you go down and die. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, as the environment changes, we need to be changing ourselves straight away. If you want peace, there's somebody who sends clips to me about I want problems on WhatsApp. If you don't want problems, if you want peace, ensure that as the environment changes, you also change with it. Otherwise, in this case, if the environment is going up, and then there you are, you can see in this case here, you will need what we call an incremental change. You go like that, And then you try changing once, then you realize, no, now in this case, I can't cope up. So I remain there, and then I start now going down, 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 down. When I reach it, it's either I die or I transform materially. In most cases, this will be very expensive. So I'm reading here, strategic drift occurs when a company does not keep itself properly aligned with its environment and the competitors. And so its strategy is no longer appropriate or relevant. So you know, to drift is to go separate, to separate. The environment wants you to go up there, and now here you are going it alone. You're not even, hearing what is there. The process of strategic drift and its consequences can be illustrated using a number of stages. So we have, during incremental change, the company manages to keep up with the environment and matches it fairly closely. Then strategic drift sets in, either because the environment changes and the company doesn't, or the company changes in an appropriate way. You can also make a different directional change. Then we have what we are calling fluxing. Fluxing, just like a not mad, but a drunkard guy. So you are there, in this case here, up and about, but you're basically not making any changes. So flux occurs when the company recognizes that something is wrong and the various adjustments are made, often in a state of desperation and now panic. Either the company will manage to move radically in the right direction to match the environment, once again, which is a big transformation, or the company will fail. Now, the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, that you should always be doing is to analyze your environment for you to be able to discern what we call environmental changes. And hey, what is the best model of analyzing the external environment other than what we call PESTEL? PESTEL is a very important SWOT. You must always have a research team in your organization for you to be able to do what here. You must always have a research team. Sorry, I had not shared my screen. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was trying to explain this thing here. I'm so sorry, I not shared my screen. So you can see this is the change. This is the change. Then we have the environment taking us up. But where are we ourselves? So we are trying to remain, no, this thing will not really have any effect. After some time, we say, hey, these online classes are peak. Let's set up online classes. So we do an incremental change. And then we remain there because we are a bit confused. Now we get into what we call a strategic drift. So strategic drift, now you can see we have drifted away. The environment is going up and up and up, just like an aircraft, as you're just down there. And then we start fluxing, going around like a drunkard like that. And then when we reach this stage, we can either now die or we do a radical change, which is a transformation or what a change. And I was able to read this, that strategic drift occurs when a company does not keep itself properly aligned with its environment and competitors, and so its strategy is no longer appropriate or relevant. The process of strategic drift and its consequences can be illustrated using a number of stages. During this incremental change, the company manages to keep up with the environment and matches it fairly closely. Then strategic drift sets in. This one here, strategic drift sets in either because the environment changes quite first and the company doesn't, or the company changes in an inappropriate way. You go opposite direction. Flux occurs. This flux occurs when the company recognizes that something is wrong and the various adjustments are made, often a state of desperation and panic, because at flux, you become like a drunkard person. You're moving up and about, going nowhere. Now, it will be very important for us to always scan our environment, and to scan our environment very best, there are models like PESTEL, political, environmental, economic, social, technological, economic, legal. We must always be scanning the environment throughout. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these are a few cases that I've given you. When I come to my tomorrow's session, then I'll be able to capture now one of the questions that we have in our past papers, question 1. The case question, I'll be able to relate that case question with whatever we have discussed. So it will be very important for you to ensure that you are also registering with us to be able to continue getting this kind of free classes. If you wish to register with us, we are charging Kenya shillings 4,200 per paper. And with that 4,200, we'll be able to give you access to all our videos. We shall be able to give you access to our Zoom classes. So the 4,200 also includes what your block revision like that. If you're interested in joining us, please call us, which is 0793 555 000. It has been a short session, but it's my belief. Of course, I'm going to upload this video on YouTube and send this around. Should you get it there, then I expect you guys to do what here. I expect you guys to subscribe and then ensure that you are doing what here. You are sharing these things with your friends. Otherwise, thank you very much. Be blessed too. Bye-bye.